Hi everyone, and welcome to our first episode of the fall season. I'm Nancy Guppy here at Seattle's Arboretum, the perfect place to enjoy these final summer days. Well, I want to start with a round of applause for Mr. John Osbold. John is the creative mind behind our brand new animated open, and we love it. We've got a terrific lineup of art for you, including a new mural on Capitol Hill, the unique vision of makeup artist Julian Stoller, and an encore performance of Can't Let Go by Randy Weeks. And we're going to kick things off with Nancy Wilson, the mega talented singer-songwriter of Heart fame, who chatted with me on Zoom about the release of her debut solo record, You and Me. Nancy Wilson, what a treat.
I'm glad to be here. You know, I'm a Seattle girl, so anything for Seattle.
Love it. We claim you here in the city. Well, in a career that spans 4+ decades, dozens of albums, You and Me is your first solo studio record. So congratulations on that. How do you feel?
You know, I'm really happy with the way the record turned out, and it's being received really, really well. People really like the diversity that's on it. A few covers, a bunch of original new stuff as well. So yeah, I'm proud of it and I'm happy about it, and
Great.
I want to do another one now.
Yeah, there you go. You've lit the fire for that. So there are 12 songs on the record, and it opens with the title track, You and Me, a beautiful song that you wrote with Sue Ennis about your mom. Tell us about that song.
Well, you know, Sue and I have collaborated a long time, you know, for Heart songs in particular. And she reminded me that when I was starting out making this album, that she had shared a song with me about a year before that she'd written when her mom passed away, called Follow Me. And I had just recently had a dream about being with my mom, who's no longer around. And so I wrote a bunch of lyrics called You and Me and Gravity. So I said, hey, Ding, let's make a hybrid of our two mom songs. And I really thought it was so kind of touching, the way it turned out.
We talk endlessly and we stay up too late, meeting up in some suspended state.
You're having a conversation in zero gravity with, a spirit of someone you love.
You always showed me the way home.
So when I listen to your guitar playing, for me, it's like you're weaving a beautiful web of sound that is gossamer and delicate, as well as strong and very resilient. And these qualities are on full display in For Edward, the closing track you wrote in honor of Eddie Van Halen. And there's a story behind that song.
Well, yes, I love to tell it. I love to tell this story.
I want to hear it.
Because in the, back in the roaring 80s, when we used to open for those guys sometimes, big festival kind of situations like that. And we got to know those guys pretty well, and Eddie was really a sweetheart. They were all really cool guys, but Eddie was really a fan of my playing, and he told me that. He said, I really like how you play that acoustic. And I said, wow, coming from you, I can't even take it. But I said, well, why don't you play more acoustic yourself? And he was like, well, I don't really have one, around here. So I said, that's impossible. You have to have one right now. So, I went and got one backstage from the roadie guy and gave it to him. Here, you officially have one on tour now. So flash forward to early, dark 30 the next morning. I was asleep and my phone rang in the room. It was him playing me on the acoustic guitar that I'd given to him, this beautiful piece of music. I was like, wow, that's one of the prettiest things I've heard, and then went back to sleep. And so later, after like sound check or whatever the next day, the show day, I said, Eddie, you played the most beautiful thing. Thank you for doing that. And he said, I did? I think he was up partying all night, and then kind of might have forgot it, but I hope not. But anyway, I was just, I was trying to channel what it was that I felt that he had played to me and something in that sort of genre, in that school of thought that was pretty angelic and pretty, kind of rock as well.
That is a wonderful story. I believe that he's feeling the love.
Yeah, I think up there in the Angel Ballroom up there, with all those other rockers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think he's flattered somewhere up there, wherever he is.
So there were you said a number of cover songs on the record. Pearl Jam's Daughter, The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel, Springsteen's The Rising. When you approach such well-known popular songs, how do you make them your own?
Well, by every which way, I guess, because, with Daughter, I'd already recorded that before I started the album for a film, which centers around a true story about human trafficking.
Don't call me daughter, not fit to the picture kept within mind.
I figured Daughter would be perfect for that film because there's the line in the song that says, she holds the hand that holds her down. And I thought that was really appropriate to the story.
She holds the hand that holds her down. She will rise above.
So, and then I had it in my back pocket, it's like, well, I already have one song I could put on my album, and let me try Bruce Springsteen's The Rising.
Sky of blackness, sky of sorrow, sky of love and sky of tears.
The next thing I wanted to record was that, because I'd seen Springsteen on Broadway and was completely moved and inspired by hearing those kinds of songs that he's so good at writing without all the production and all of the, just like the raw emotional meaning of those songs. Having been written for 9/11 originally, I figured, well, this would be a good song for me to put out into the world because it was the beginning of the shutdown and the pandemic and all of the, horrible, horrific loss and fear and pain that people were going through.
Is there anything you learned about yourself as a musician that you didn't know before making You and Me?
Yeah, well, mainly, as a singer, I was never the main singer. Obviously, I got to sing here and there once in a while. So I was like, wow, I'm gonna sing everything on this. So I better figure out how to do that because I don't do it that often. Something I've done all my life was sing and play with friends in rooms and hootenannies and jamboree kind of stuff, but to kind of interpret my own stories that I wrote myself, or to know which persona to kind of put out there. I actually got some really good direction from Sue Ennis. She was like, don't try to put yourself into the heart level as a singer. You can just tell a story. Just tell your own story more. And then I remembered Anne had told me that once too. She said, don't try to be perfect. You're trying too hard to be perfect with it. Just tell your story.
Burn the house down, let it flame out, throw the ashes cold and gray.
And so I kind of came to a new kind of realization about, as a musician, not to try to over-perfect yourself. On all levels, I think. It's more refreshing for people to hear the humanness, these days in particular, when it's not just all ironed out and auto-tuned and perfected digitally, So there's an honest humanity about it when it's imperfect.
Well, I want to thank you so much for talking with me, and congratulations on the new record. It's outstanding, and we're very excited to have you back here in Seattle. Okay,
Thanks for
Nancy.
having me. Okay. Cheers. Later. Take care.
Nancy Wilson performs with the Seattle Symphony on October 30th at Benaroya Hall. Ticket and live stream information is at live.seattlesymphony.org. And Nancy's debut solo record, You and Me, is available online and from your favorite indie record store. Julian Stoller grew up in a Seattle home swirling with music and dance. Out of this wildly creative environment, Julian has forged an artistic path that is uniquely his own.
I'm Julian Stoller. I am a makeup artist, filmmaker, and possibly more by the time this comes out.
What time is it? 4 a.m.
My parents are both super creative people. My mom danced throughout college, and my dad is a musician. He's a bassist currently for Heart. So I grew up in an environment that encouraged a lot of creativity and chaos. I mean, our house is purple. I like it a lot, yeah. I definitely wouldn't be the same person anywhere else. I took to dancing really first. So I danced ballet for about 10 years, from when I was 3 to when I was 13. And then by then, your body's like, you messed me up, and I had to go. But I danced at PNB, like the Nutcracker, the last couple of years. So music was always a part of my life. Like I think I was like held within my first year of life. I think Tracy Chapman held me that like in a concert, like this, like a Lion King. To my father's dismay, music was probably the one thing I avoided. I tried playing the flute once in 3rd grade. You'd be surprised, but it didn't work out. The first time I think I had makeup on me was for theater productions and for ballet. So they would like put, some just deliciously thick grease paint on our faces, and we looked tad horrifying, but in a giant stage we looked like children, I guess. But so that was my first like memory of it. But then I think the first time I tried was like on myself. It's a very, very simple makeup, and I was like, this is kind of fun, and I think I felt cool wearing it. I think that a lot of guys, when they're young and who are interested in makeup, are kind of searching for a androgyny or playing with gender. And for me, like at the beginning, I'm sure it was that. I'm very comfortable in like a cisgender male kind of, box, which is like, what I figured out. But more than that, I kind of felt really uncomfortable as a child, like navigating social situations and all that. So it was more like escaping like the human. I think I wrote somehow that like I'd rather be like a sculpture of something than like have to participate in like childhood activities. So it was very much like aspiring to be a new species of sorts. A lot of it comes from just being inspired by narratives that I would want to tell. So really just an extension of stories I come up with in my mind for like characters and stuff. A lot of it comes from also quite like dark places. I feel like a lot of what I make is kind of sinister in some way. I'm very inspired by nature, I think primarily is like the idea of decay and turnover and just life like that. There's nothing that like visually, I think, tops the amount of material that nature can give us as artistic inspiration. A lot of the drawing I do is expressing concepts or just feelings. It's a way of journaling for me, really, to just kind of find catharsis in expressing something on a page. I've been on Instagram since I was like 13, 14, but it was obviously like a tiny audience, and then it grew. We're all kids that are trying to escape whatever we're going through art. And because we can't work, because we can't just jump into the workforce and jump into adulthood, which I think to an extent all of us want, because when you're queer, you don't get like the childhood, I guess, that you'd want. So the answer is to just forego it altogether. But because we can't work, we go online, and then we find each other, and it's a really nice unifying thing. I reached out via DM to what I learned later was the creative director of Gautier, Lady Florence Tetier. And so I was just like, I love what you do. If you ever need anything, I will do anything to work for you. Because I grew up, this is the most cliche thing I've ever said, watching a lot of Madonna tour videos. And I know that's really shocking. And so I was raised on Gautier, the Cohen bras and everything. I mean, it's such a powerfully queer brand and so iconic. A couple months later, she basically said, we're doing a collection, and she was like, do you want to do some looks for the social media for like the campaign? And I like screamed and ran around the room and cried and said yes. I shot the look in May, and it came out today. I didn't realize this, but the Gautier thing came out like an hour ago, which I'm kind of in disbelief about. I have like imposter syndrome, so sometimes I just never think things are gonna happen. And so I can't even process it. I mean, like, I'm so happy people liked it, to be honest. I'm just happy people liked it. I'm really proud of the work. It took a lot of fine tuning to get that look together because I was so nervous. It took like a week of doing something like every day to try to figure out what I wanted to do. It's all marine inspired. I kind of imagined myself washed up on shore, sunburnt, some sort of shell creature. So yeah, another way to escape humanity. I always want, like every artist, for people to find their own beauty through the work that I make and to find their own meaning. But the biggest thing I hope to accomplish with making what I do is to give back to the people that inspired me, because I don't think that this cycle is sustainable unless we try to speak to a generation of new artists and people that are searching for a creative outlet. So yeah, that's my biggest thing, is that I hope that I can do that for someone and then get to see their work. Again, there's like nothing more beautiful to me.
Congratulations to Julian on being accepted into NYU's renowned filmmaking program, and you can keep up with Julian on Instagram. Singer-songwriter Randy Weeks received good news this summer. His Grammy-nominated song, Can't Let Go, made famous by Lucinda Williams in 1998, got the royal treatment yet again, this time by Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. Well, in light of this very exciting development, we thought it was the perfect time to showcase Randy's 2020 Art Zone performance of his famous song. So here is Randy Weeks and the silent treatment with Can't Let Go.
Sit all alone and cry, well it's over, I know, I can't let go. I'm like a fish out of water, I'm a cat in a tree. You don't even want to talk to me, well it's over, I know, I can't let go. She won't take me back when I come around. She says she's sorry and she puts me down. I got a big chain around my neck, broken down, I'm like a train wreck. Oh, it's over, I know, I can't let go. You see, I got a candle and it's burning so bright, keeping me up every night. Well, it's over, I know, I can't let go. Turn off the trouble, I can turn off a light. Went away and left me, now it just ain't right. Well, it's over, I know, let go. She won't take me back when I come around. She says she's sorry, then she puts me down. I got a big chain around my neck and I'm broken down. I'm like a train wreck. Oh, it's over, I know, I can't let go. Yeah. alright. Well, it's over. I know I can't let go. She won't take me back when I come around. She says she's sorry and she puts me down. Got a big chain around my neck and I'm broken down. I'm like a train wreck. Well, it's over. I know I can't let go. She won't take me back when I come around. She says she's sorry and she puts me down. I got a big chain around my neck and I'm broken down. I'm like a train wreck. Well, it's over. I know I can't let go. Well, it's over. I know I can't let go. Well, it's over. I know.
Can't Let Go is available on Madeline, Randy's record from 2000. The Robert Plant Alison Krauss version, available now as a single, will be on their new album, Raise the Roof, slated for release in mid-November. Finally, this past summer, a powerhouse group of artists spearheaded by Faye Jones painted a lovely mural on the side of a garage on Capitol Hill. Well, friends and fans gathered together on a very hot August afternoon to celebrate the finished project, and Art Zone was on hand to capture the moment. So enjoy, have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
This is called Birdsong, and it came about because I got an email when I was 2 weeks away from my second vaccine from John, who owns the building. And he said he wanted a mural on this new garage wall. Could I recommend somebody? I've done murals before, actually. I said, well, I'd be interested, and I came over and I met with them. And then I asked my old girlfriends if they would join me, because we used to do projects in the early 80s and the 90s, and I think we haven't done anything for probably 10 years. Our average age is 80, and that is a very important part of this. It's finished, and so I'm happy to have this party today.
It was initially a surprise when it started developing, and it's on my little donkey trail to my studio and home back and forth. So just about every day I saw it transform a little bit, a little of this, a little of that, and then recognizing my friends in the alley when they showed up. That was really something special.
We didn't have a serious message except that it would be positive. I wanted a poem with birds, and I finally went with a very good friend in Eastern Washington who's a poet, and I said, do you have anything with birds? And she gave me the first two stanzas of a poem in progress. And I love the fact that the poem asks questions. So it seems like the whole point is asking questions these days in a positive way.
Okay, this is a very serious looking sign, and yet the bees, they look so happy. Maybe they kiss you versus stinging the hell out of you.